So I just wanted to do a little streaming thing just to practice my streaming skills, I guess. But also I just wanted to show people building a website from scratch. So what we're doing here is we're going to frontendmentor.io. I heard about this from Ripley Aaron on Instagram, and this site's really cool. Basically, it has all these different challenges where you can get actual web designs, and you can learn how to build them. Well, not learn. You can try to build them. I'm going to do this one. And yeah, the site's really neat. Basically, you can download a JPEG design files and other things, and they have a little bit of starter code. So we'll sort of take a look at that. So let's check out the files here. So I just created a new folder to make this website in. This folder here is the actual design that I downloaded. So let's just take a quick look here. Oops. So this is everything opened in VS Code. Oh, hello. Hello. Time Rider 27, thanks for joining us. Yeah, if y'all don't know, this is the first time I'm streaming, so I will probably say a lot of ums and ahs and maybe make mistakes, maybe have to Google things that I've forgotten. So I'm sure it'll be fun. Okay, so we're up here in Visual Studio Code. I'm just kind of going through the design files that I got from frontendmentor.io. So yeah, just makes it really easy for you. They basically give you everything that your designer should be giving you. So there's PNGs, SVGs, and then they have the actual sort of comps of what the full website's supposed to be. So this is the desktop one. This is, I guess it's just they were using this for the website promo. And then this is the mobile design. So you can see it's a pretty simple website. This is just a one-page thing. So at the top we have a hero area up here with the CTA, call to action button. And then in the middle section is just, some content. It looks like on desktop it is 3 columns. So you have this image here, then you have 2 text columns. Then right below that you have another sort of CTA call to action area where you can sign up to join their mailing list or whatever that is. And we just got a footer at the bottom with 3 columns on desktop. So what I usually do when I get a design is, let's see. Sorry, I think I navigated to a weird thing. What I usually do when I get a design is I look at the files, just try to sort of wrap my head around what I'm going to have to be building. And I also like to compare what the desktop version and the mobile version look like. And usually I'll get a desktop design and a mobile design. Sometimes I'll get tablet designs, but that doesn't happen very often. And usually what I end up doing is the tablet version is sort of like a mix between the desktop and the mobile versions, depending on, what seems to make sense. So let's just compare what we got for desktop and mobile. I actually opened them up separately here, just so you can kind of see them side by side. Okay, so let's start up with the top hero area. This top header looks the same for both desktop and mobile. You have your logo on the left, then you have some links on the right side. And then below that you have the hero, which is 2 columns on desktop, and then on mobile it stacks. And it looks also like on mobile the order changes, meaning on desktop you have the text and the button on the left side, meaning it's first, and then the image is on the right side second. On mobile that's switched, so the image is first, and then the text part and the CTA are second. So we can use Flexbox or something to sort of change the order of that when we get to it. So let's move on down. In the middle section, it looks like it's a pretty simple sort of stacking on mobile thing. Usually what happens is in desktop you'll have things kind of span multi-columns, and then when you have things on mobile, you kind of make all those columns that are next to each other just kind of stack underneath each other. So that's what people usually mean when they say, stack this content on mobile. Other than the stacking, it seems pretty much the same. Like the order is the same on both desktop and mobile, so that should be fairly easy. And then we got the CTA area, which also seems kind of the same, except for on desktop you can see the text box and the button are next to each other, and then on mobile they stack. So let's check out the footer. I move this up so my picture's not in the way. But the footer, so you got 3 columns on desktop, and then it stacks on mobile, and the order does change on the footer. You can see the last section on the desktop design is the form sign up, and then on mobile it is second in the order. So, and then these links, which are in the middle, in the second position on desktop, are at the end on mobile. So this is a relatively simple 3 to 4 section 1-page website. So if you're making a website for a small business, this is going to be pretty much the kind of website you'll probably be making. Some small business websites might have like an about page or a contact page or even a blog section. This is just kind of a simple promotional landing page almost. Hi, okay, Sarah. VS Code. Sorry, I'm realizing that streaming involves lots of multitasking, so I'll try to monitor the chat as I go on. So these are the designs, and we can get started with actually coding the site. Let me just show you what I got right now. So again, this folder was where I got all the design files and stuff, and then I made another folder called website, and that's where we'll be making the actual website. So I don't know if you all follow me on Instagram or how you found out about this, but I recently did a little tutorial on using Parcel for your front-end web dev workflow. And I use Parcel right now to compile my sass files and my JavaScript files. And it's similar to Webpack or Gulp, but Parcel just requires a lot less setup. If you're curious about it, you can check my blog. It's at coder-coder.com, and you can check out that tutorial. I've found Parcel very easy to work with, so I like it a lot. But anyway, out of all that, I created this project that I'm kind of using as my starter project files for front-end website stuff. So I'm just going to copy those files over to the website folder so we can sort of get started more quickly. So copy the app folder. The app folder is going to have sass and JavaScript files, and then when they get processed by Parcel, they will end up in the dist folder. So you can see here, this is from the Parcel project. It has all the compiled CSS and JavaScript files. Time Writer says, so when you first get a project to work on, you design the whole website front end to back end. It depends on the project. What I'm doing right now is really just doing the front end. If I get a design or something for a work project, it depends on, if I make all the graphics from scratch. I don't have any design skills, so when I get a project, I'm completely dependent on the actual designer on the project making all those files and images, and then I just kind of put them into the website, if that makes sense. Which is why I think this front-end mentor website is really cool, because it really gives you everything that you would be getting for an actual web development project. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, so let me just copy the files from the boilerplate, my Parcel boilerplate thing. I think that's all I need. So we're copying that into the website folder. And let's just close this out. Okay, now I'm going to, what I'm doing right now is I have to check and make sure parcel works. So first thing is I'm going to npm install. So this is going to install all the packages from the package.json file into the website project. So I gotta be honest, this is not my favorite part of website projects. I don't really like spending a lot of time doing setup and stuff. So that's why I really like Parcel, because it makes this process a bit quicker. Okay, let's just see if this works. So another cool thing that Parcel does that we'll be using is when you run Parcel, it will actually spin up a staging server for you that will automatically update itself every time you make a change to your CSS. So to run that, you just type Parcel and then you type in the HTML file that you want to process. Let's see if everything's working. Okay, cool. And then we will, we can see our staging site at localhost port 1234. So let's do that now. Cool. So another thing that I always do when I'm building a website, and this is just the all the stuff from the Parcel project, so you can just, we're going to change all this stuff, but I like to keep my developer tools open just because it's a really easy way to, if you inspect this element, you can see all the CSS styles on the other side. Let me try to zoom in so it's a little bit more readable for you guys. So, okay. So I think we're ready to go. Looks like everything's working. Cool. So I will just open up index.html. I don't really need this stuff because this was from the Parcel project, so I'm just going to sort of get rid of that. I actually don't even think we need JavaScript because this is just pretty much just a pure CSS project, so I think I might actually just delete that too. Cool. And then let's replace the title here. Landing page. This is called Philo landing page. Add some test stuff here. And then you can, I don't know if you caught that, but when I saved this file, it rebuilt the project. So, okay, now it looks like this. Cool. Okay. Let's go back to these designs here. So the first, so when I'm making a website, the approach that I usually use is I will kind of build things section by section. Like, I'm not going to just try to write out all the HTML for like everything. I just will say, you know, start with the header, then do the hero, then basically make my way down the page. And then the footer last. So I can just kind of focus on each section one at a time. So then I'm not working on too many different things at the same time. But I think with this project, they actually supply you some, yeah. So this is the index.html file from the Front End Mentor website, and they kind of gave you the all the text that you'll need. So, and then this little attribution thing here. So we can kind of use this to, yeah, we can just kind of copy that as we go along. Okay. Sorry, hopefully this isn't too awkward for all of you watching. But okay, let's do the header first. And I don't know if everyone does this, but I just I make the desktop version first, and then I make it responsive, and so I'll update the CSS for the mobile version. But okay, we're just going to start with the header. And I do try to use semantic HTML when I can, because otherwise everything's just like div, 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 and it's like divitis, I think is what some people call it, where you just have a whole bunch of divs. I think one of the benefits of using semantic HTML tags is that it kind of makes more sense when you're looking through the code to make changes and stuff later. Okay, so we got a logo section here and 2 links. So this is all going to be in the header. Let's see what that logo image was. Logo. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to copy this file, and because I just have this folder here to just kind of hold all the design assets, but I want everything to be in my website folder. So what I'm going to do is let's just create a new folder here in dist. So again, I'm working in the sass files and the JavaScript files, although not JavaScript for this project. I'm working in the sass files, which is contained in the app folder. But I don't really need to process the image files, so I'm just going to create a new folder under dist. Hopefully this doesn't get deleted when I run parcel. So I'm creating an image folder, and then I'm going to paste in the logo. Okay, cool. So let's see if this works. We'll just say class logo and div. And I think everyone has a different way of how they write their HTML and how they do their CSS classes. But for images, I usually like to just use, I like to create a div and then set the image as the background image, because I feel like I have more control over how it ends up looking. Okay, so I'm also going to move this style sass folder over here. Let's see. This is just the test code that I had for the parcel package again. Let's see. Oh, Time Rider says, are you there during the design stage to give your input, or is that stage strictly designers? It depends on the company. Ideally, I would be involved at least in looking at the design before we get the final client approval. Otherwise, they might design something that's very difficult to build in a website. But yeah, so usually, I'll be there as part of the internal design review. And then once it's approved internally, it'll get sent over to the client. Then once the client approves it, then it goes back to me, and then I start building it. But I'm not like super involved in like every design decision that's made. Sometimes designers might come to me and ask me questions if they're not sure if something's feasible to build in a website. Cool. Okay, I'm just going to delete all this CSS I don't really need right now. Let's see what else there was in that file a landing page thing. I think I saw a style guide here too. Okay, designs were created to following widths: 375 for mobile, 1440 pixels for desktop. Okay, these are the colors. HSL. I'm actually not sure what that is. So I'm just gonna be like super honest about things that I don't understand. So wait, let's look at that again. HSL. So I don't know what that is, so I will look up on DuckDuckGo. All right, let's see what they say. HSL is, what was it? Hue, saturation, and luminosity. So what I want to do is I want a hex code. It's kind of weird that they didn't give me the hex colors, honestly. Okay. I'm just going to look up what the HSL, converting the HSL colors, and I'm going to add those in as sass variables, and then we'll move on to setting up the fonts. Yeah, so I'm not sure how long I'm going to be streaming. I'm assuming maybe 2 hours max, since we're almost half an hour through. But I'm not at all planning on finishing this website in like an hour or two, so it'll take a little bit longer than that, especially with streaming and stuff at the same time. But okay, HSL to hex. Okay, yeah, man, that's like kind of weird that they did that, but anyway. I wonder if it's this. Hold on, I'm just gonna check if there's a sass mixin for HSL. Okay, that's fine. We're just gonna manually convert it. Okay, so 243, and then 86 and 85. Okay, cool. Hopefully that's the right color. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna move this back over here because I'm gonna try to keep the actual website files on the left side and then like the design files on the right side, just so it's a bit clearer. So one thing that I do like to do with my sass is to kind of organize them into multiple files. So I'm actually going to I'm going to copy this. I'm going to make a new sass file and call it global.scss. And in the actual style.scss, I'm not going to have any actual CSS, but I'm just going to import, this should work. I'm just going to make sure that what I wrote works. Whoops. What happened? Oh, I got rid of the stuff. I got rid of the markup that I had added. Let's just test really quick. But yeah, feel free to ask questions as I go if anything doesn't make sense, or if you catch me making a mistake, that's totally fine. Looks like the CSS is not working. Okay, I need to go back and fix this. Oh, I know why. Jeez, because you need that script, you need that JavaScript file to load everything else. Sorry, I just need to bring that back. Okay, so I just recopied it. Because what happens is, let me just show you why this would broke, but the script.js file that's where you're loading the style.scss. So because I removed that reference to the JavaScript file, it just didn't load any of the CSS. Dev says, thank you so much for walking us through. Yeah, I'll try to make this as not boring as possible, but I just feel like, yeah, I'm happy to build this. It's kind of a fun little project, and hopefully I can save you all something. Okay, I did something else. What did I mess up? Oh, I see. Okay, this is saying that color white doesn't exist because here. We're just going to delete this stuff because we're not actually using it. Wait, why is it messing up? Oh, color white is still there. So this is messing up because originally I had created a sass variable at the very top saying that $white equals the white color, like hashtag or pound FFF. But I removed that, so that's why this is looking for that variable and it's not there. That's why it's throwing an error. So I'm just going to delete that save it again. And then still, I might have to cancel this and then rerun parcel. And there hopefully will not be an error now. Okay, looks like it's okay now. All right, cool. Okay, looks like these styles are showing up correctly. Yeah, let me know if this stuff here on the right is like readable for you. I can try to make it a little bit bigger. Cool. Okay, sorry that took so long. But it looks like the styles are indeed working. So let's get back to the colors that we were trying to do. Or actually get back to organizing our sass files. So as I was mentioning in my sass folder, I'm using the style.scss, like the main sass file, to only import other files. So this import global is importing everything from here. So what I actually like to do is create a lot of different sass files, because like I'll make one for each different part of the website, each different block. So we're gonna make one for colors, and then just delete this because we don't need it. And I'm going to add another import statement about importing colors. So this is where we're going to create some variables for the colors that they have here. So we'll say, was it soft blue is, and what was that hex code? So it's this one. Soft blue. Cool. And the next one is very dark blue. So we're just going to copy and paste all that stuff here. 87 and 12. Man, I've honestly never used HSL colors in my life. That is a very dark blue. So we'll make another variable, very dark blue. And then, so these are the primary colors, and then these are accent colors. So we'll just add a little comment here. Oops. I like adding comments to my code because it helps keep things organized, and also like you really want to be able to quickly be able to navigate through code, either yourself, like in the future, like 3 weeks from now, if I came back and I had to make changes to this project, things like comments and just writing code that's very quickly understandable and quickly readable helps save a lot of time. Or if another, let's say I was working on this project for a client and I built the website and then I'm gone, and then they had to get another developer in to make changes of some kind, it'll help them out a lot if the code that they have to wade through is like, easy to navigate and stuff. So that's why I try to keep my code as organized as I can. Okay, next one is green. So yeah, there's a lot of copying and pasting in web development. 95 and 43. So if you're easily bored, this may be painful for you. And I apologize, but this is real life, guys. Copying and pasting. Okay, next one is dark blue. 243, and then it was 58 and 33. So okay, neutral. I don't know if I need a comment for this necessarily because there's only one color, but whatever. Gray. HSL 0050. Convert that. Okay. Oh, Ian Duke says, I never worked with HSL either, only hex RGBA, but I think you can declare it like this. Oh, man. That was a waste of time. All right, let's see if this works. I've no doubt that you're right. I just honestly never worked with this before. Seems like it's working. Let's do a test. Color, what was it? Soft blue. Oops. Was that wrong? Oh, I did import the colors. Why is this not working? This is weird. Let me just make sure I copied that right. Oh, I know why. Colors needs to be before global. Because when you compile your sass to CSS, it'll like do it in order that you sort of imported them. So because the variables are all in here, before I was importing the global styles and it was trying to load this color, soft blue, before it actually loaded what the variable actually was. So that's why that wasn't working. But now it seems like it is working. Okay, thank you, Ian, for that tip. That was a lot of extra time I didn't have to spend converting it, but well, I guess I learned something new. Okay, so we got our colors. I guess just for the sake of being consistent, I'm just gonna do this and kind of manually copy everything just so it's all the same. Again, just being consistent with your code, I think, is kind of important. So it's not like messy. Tamara says, my first job in software, I had to convert C to C++. Oh boy. And the comments from the last developer did help me a lot. Yeah. Very true. My previous job, I worked 6 years at an advertising agency, and I was there long enough where, a lot of developers before me left, and I was there and I had to take over some of their projects. And I'll just say that some of them were pretty good about commenting and organizing their code, and some of them weren't. And the ones that weren't, it was pretty painful. So yeah, if you're working on a project, please, for the sake of either your future self or, whoever takes over the project after you, please try to keep your code as organized as you can. Obviously this is a skill that you'll get better at over time. I think there were times where I had to look back on old projects and looking at the code made me just cringe inside, because I knew that at that time I hadn't written them very well. I didn't write very clean code. So, it's just something that you'll get better at over time. It's okay to not be perfect at everything right now, because, you'll improve. Okay, next thing is fonts. So we will create another file, fonts.scss. Actually, I don't know if this is necessary, but we'll just do this anyway. Oops. So these fonts are just, they're all Google fonts. So don't need this anymore. This is actually, this is just such a helpful project. I think for if you're a beginner, these projects are really great because they really take you in all the nitty-gritty that you may or may not see in a tutorial. I'm not really sure. But setting up your fonts and color, I think, is good. I guess we'll just load this railway font. Okay, so if you don't know how to use Google Fonts, this is definitely a very helpful skill to have. Because I think more and more people are moving toward using Google Fonts or other online fonts as opposed to just loading, WOFF files or something. Okay, so they need 700 weight, which is bold. So we will unselect regular because we don't need that, and we'll select 700 for bold. So we will just take this and, or wait a minute, should we use an import thing? I don't know, I just usually use this. I don't know if it's the right thing to do. Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest with y'all about things that I know and things I don't know, because I think that's more helpful for everyone. Even though I've been in the business for 7 years now, I still make mistakes, and I forget obvious things that I've probably learned multiple times. But I think that's just a fact of life. You want to load the CSS stuff first. Cool. And then I think we can actually just copy this. Oop, why is that not working? It's weird. Usually if you press Control-D, it'll just duplicate the line. We're going to try to cheat a little bit here and just sort of copy. I think this is the right syntax, to have commas between the different weights. I'm just going to double check. Okay, yeah, there's commas between them. Let's go back here. Okay, so using Open Sans for the regular fonts, 400 is like regular weight, 600 is like semi-bold, and 700 is bold. Cool. All right, I think that's everything that we need in terms of setting up the styles. Okay. Cool. So we'll get rid of this. We don't really need that right now. Actually, we will. Oops. What did I do? Oh, I don't want to do that. What did I do? Oh no. There we go. I think I pressed undo by accident. Let me just check the design really quick. Okay, so philo is the H1 tag because that's the title of the website. Let's see, what do I want to do here? I will try this way. Okay, so right now we're just focused on creating the header as we began like what, 20 minutes ago. So we got the logo image here. Looks kind of like the Dropbox icon. Then we got philo, which is I guess the name of the company. Then we got these links on the right side. So what I'm going to do is I usually just try to get all the markup down, and then I'll go back and like style it and make everything look the way that the design does. So we have the logo. We're going to add the logo image as a background image. And then we have the philo title text. And then I'm going to add another set of semantic HTML tags for the nav, because I guess it's not really the nav, but usually you'd have like navigation links up here. So we've got sign in, and then this is actually a button, so we will do that. Sign up. I don't know if the link can go inside the button. I don't know what the best practice is, like if the a anchor tag needs to go inside the button tag or vice versa. I'm just gonna look that up really quick. Sorry, it's a really dumb little thing, but I'm just kind of curious. Anchor tag inside button tag. Let's see, having an anchor inside a button tag is not correct. HTML. Kind of nest a button inside an anchor tag. Let's see. So this person is nesting a button tag inside the anchor tag, but it says they get a validation error saying the button must not be nested inside the A button. So this is what I spend a lot of time doing when I'm working on any kind of website project. I am curious or I can't figure something out, and then I look it up and read Stack Overflow posts. So I can tell that this question is like a decent question because it has like 100 upvotes. And the answer has a lot of upvotes as well. and it's been accepted as an answer. So that kind of tells me, those are indicators that tell me, what's a good Stack Overflow question and answer. You can see if it has if the question that you're looking at has 0 upvotes, then you don't really know if it's a good question or not. And if you don't know also if the answer that's given to that question is good. So I try to stick with Stack Overflow questions and answers that have a lot of upvotes, meaning 100 is pretty good. Okay. You can nest any elements inside an A tag except the following. Button is one of them. Okay, I don't know. I guess what I was wondering is I know that a button will kind of automatically make it look like a button, but I don't know is that really necessary, because I could really just style the anchor tag as a button. I'm just kind of curious. Sorry, I won't take too much more time on this thing. Anchor tag or button tag? Let's see which one people are saying. Oh, this is helpful. Difference between anchors, inputs, and buttons. So now we're looking at a blog post. And this guy I know is a very popular tech blogger. So it says the question of what element to use boils down to semantics, which means the markup will reflect the meaning of the content. Anchor will represent hyperlinks. Input represents a data field, meaning stuff in a form, like a text box or a button. Okay, button element represents a button. Okay, buttons do the same things as the inputs in the form mentioned above. Honestly, this website's just a simple front end thing. I'm just going to leave it as a button and not make it, not worry about making it an anchor tag, because I don't think that's necessary. I'm not even sure if that was the right thing to try to do. Oh, Time Rider says, I'm so glad to see you looking stuff up online. I'm still in the beginner stage of web development, so I'm constantly Googling stuff. That will not change, no matter how good you get. You'll just, hopefully you won't be looking up the same stuff as time goes on, but you will be looking up some kind of things, no matter what. So, okay. This is our markup for the header, okay? So we got the logo in the div. Then we got this nav element with the sign in and sign up buttons. So just so you see what that looks like, this is what it looks like. Let's zoom in a little bit. Yeah, so nothing fancy. Obviously, it's very far from what we want this to look like. So this is just my personal preference, but when I'm building stuff, as I said, I get the markup down, and then I sort of try to style it. And when I'm styling stuff, I personally like to get the layout working first before doing the fonts and the colors. You can do it whatever way you want, whatever makes the most sense to you. So let's look back at this. Actually, what I'm going to do is, hold on. I know this looks terrible right now. I just kind of like having, this is what I usually use 2 screens for. But let's just close out the design stuff. We don't need that right now. But yeah, I usually like to have 2 screens because I can sort of have the design on one side as a reference and then kind of make sure all my markup and my styles kind of match it. Otherwise, you're having to flip between things. Let's see. Is the video still working for you guys? Looks like it cut out for me. Hold on 1 second. I may try to reload the Twitch page. My laptop fan's running. Okay, I will just try to continue on, even though I can't see the chat room right now. Yeah, so I just like having the design as a reference while I'm actually coding stuff. Okay, so the first thing that we see when we see these elements is that the logo is on the right and the links are on the left. So what I'm gonna have to do is use Flexbox to, okay, thanks, the video's still working. I'm gonna have to use Flexbox to align things correctly. So in Flexbox, the first thing you want to have is you want to have like a parent element, and we have that here with the header, and then the logo and then the nav are two separate elements. So let's see. I guess the best thing to do would be to create a new sass file. I know that sounds kind of silly, but it's just all part of trying to keep your code organized. So we're going to make a new file called header.scss, and then we will import it. So let's just add some little extra labeling here too. I'll just say modules. I don't know if that's really the right term, but okay, so now it's loading the header. How do I get back to, I guess I can use that. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to make the header, sorry, I'm just going to move this over so I have a little bit more room. We're going to do this. Let's try splitting down. Okay. So this is the header. And then I'm just going to add sort of style declarations for each of the elements. And then we've got nav. So header, we said we want it to be the Flexbox parent, meaning you'll have a property display flex. So adding this will automatically make the child elements, which are the logo div and then the nav element, they will automatically be Flexbox flex, or whatever you call it. Okay, so yes, this still looks terrible, but we can see here the header is this whole length here, and then we got the logo here, and then we got the nav links here. So this is flex in terms of it's doing what it's supposed to do. Another thing that I like to do when I'm writing code is when I'm sort of adding new styles, if I'm just curious, like if I'm not sure if it's going to work, I will actually just add it in the browser. This isn't saving in the files or anything, but you can just more quickly see the result. So what we want to do is we want to make the links be on the right side. So we'll do justify content, and I believe it's space between. Yeah. And another thing I'd like to do is, I'm just showing you guys all like my dirty little tricks here. But what I also like to do is add borders around everything so I can kind of see where they all end. So we can see here, justify content space between needs to be right. Space around kind of evenly adds space to around the elements. So when you want something on the left edge and the right edge, you kind of want to use the space between property. So now that we know that that works, we will do this. And I'll just copy the border too, just for the sake of clarity. Cool. Oh, Rafalazar says hi. Yes, thank you for watching. Okay. So we got the header here. Actually, okay, I think I added this padding here, which I don't really want. So this is one reason why I always keep my inspection tools open, because I can quickly change things or like remove styles and see you know, what it is I want it to look like. I think it was in global. I'll just take this away. Also, we don't need that. I guess for H1 we'll add that back in there. Actually, I don't know if that was right. No, it's white. So I'm putting H1 in the global, even though it is in the header, just because I try to keep my default styles for text styles and other styles related to typography in the global sass file, but that's just my personal preference. You can do whatever you want. Okay, cool. So let's see. Oops, what did I do this time? Oh, it doesn't have the white color. Let's just add this here so we stop running into this error. Okay, sorry everybody. Okay, it's white now, that's why we can't see it. Okay, what do we want to do next? We should probably do the background color for the header and the hero. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So we can see that the header and the hero, they sort of share this background gradient thing. So that means that we will need to add the gradient to a parent element that contains both the header and the hero. I mean, I guess we could put the hero stuff inside the header tag. I don't see why you can't do that. Okay, so later on, I'm just adding an HTML comment here. We'll just add the hero here. This is another thing that I try to do just to make the HTML a bit more readable. Also, indentation is very important. I try to keep things indented properly, meaning every child element is indented one thing, tab, space, whatever you use from the parent element. So it just makes things a bit easier to see. And then I try to add spaces between some elements. Okay. I don't think they gave us any direction on the actual gradient stuff. They did give us color info, so maybe we'll do that. Okay, let's look at this gradient. So this looks like a radial gradient, and the lighter color is this light purple here, which I think is the soft blue color, and then it goes to this darker blue purple color here. Sorry, let's just get this back to where it was. Okay, so what we're going to do is, let's just double check those colors. So the dark purple blue is the dark blue, I'm assuming, and this sort of light purple thing is a soft blue. So we'll just remember that. And then I'll show you one of my other favorite tools called Colorzilla. Ultimate Gradient Generator. So, Time Writer says, all the tutorials you've seen use Google Chrome for web dev. You're the first to use Firefox. It's honestly just preference. I used to use completely Chrome for everything, but I am sort of trying to get away from using Google. That's why I use DuckDuckGo for my search engine, and that's why I'm using Firefox here, just because I think we're just really dependent on Google, and they have some, they just have a lot of control over your privacy and your data, and they try to track everything for their ad business. And, I'm not really cool with that. I think DuckDuckGo, it's like a nonprofit. Firefox is a nonprofit, but that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, that's why I use Firefox and why I'm using DuckDuckGo. There's nothing. If you want to use Google, that's totally fine. Like, I still use Google for some of my searches because honestly, it's just a much better search engine. But okay, so I really like this tool, the gradient generator, because you can make gradients and then you can just sort of copy the CSS. Let's see. Okay, so this whole thing's a circle. The inner circle is going to be the lighter color and the outer circle is going to be the darker color. So we want to make this one the dark purple blue. And I guess it was a good thing that I converted all the HSL things to hex, because now I can just copy these. I'll make this into the light color. Yeah, I use this tool all the time. I think there is like a tool or a mixin that you can use that will automatically generate like the necessary CSS, but like I use this. Yeah, you need Compass, which I didn't install, so I just copy all this, and then let's see if, because I guess by default I would just copy the gradient style here, but I just want to see if it's reused. Okay, it's not reused. If this gradient background was reused somewhere else, I would probably I would add it as like a helper class. So like I'd create a new class saying blue gradient or whatever, blue radial gradient, and then add the CSS there, and then I'll just show you. Let's add it under globals. Helper classes. So helper classes are just little CSS classes that you can reuse, and that's why you kind of put the styles into a separate class. Blue, we'll just say blue radial gradient. And then we'll copy all the gradient styles that we just got from Colorzilla. So this means that this class here, we would need to add to the, I'm just gonna try to close some of these things. My screen's not big enough. Okay. So that means we would add that helper class that we just created to the header element. And then, let's see. Woohoo! Here we go. Obviously this doesn't really look like what we want, because it looks like it's kind of offset a little bit, so sorry, I'm just gonna close the door really quick. Okay, so the problem here is by default the radial gradient is centered. As you can see here, obviously it's centered, but this is way too small, like it's too short, and we kind of want to offset the gradient. So I don't know how to do that, so let's look it up. CSS gradient offset. The other thing is that I'm gonna have to make that header element like way taller to make the gradient sort of be the right size, I guess. Yeah, so back to looking up stuff. Let's see, gradients are background image. Linear gradient. Yeah, sorry, hopefully this isn't too boring, but this is just kind of part of the job. I am planning on putting this stream on YouTube. I'm trying to figure out if I want to edit it down or not, because, you know, I think streaming is just much longer, and for YouTube you kind of want more edited short videos. Okay, let's look for radial gradient. Default is a start in the center of the element and fade to the end. Yes, that's what's happening. What I'm trying to figure out right now is there a way to change the center of the radial gradient and also maybe change like the, like how big it is? Okay, it doesn't have to start at the default center. You can specify a certain point by using @ as the first part of the parameter. Man, maybe I didn't have to use Colorzilla. We'll just copy this and go back to that thing. You know, I'm just going to delete this because I still have it. Yeah, I have it copied here, so I'm just going to delete all this. So something's not right. Oh, wait. Background image. Okay. So let's change those colors again. Soft blue and dark blue. That's not right. There we go. I guess we'll keep it like that. Okay, anyway, let's see how that looks. Oh, not bad. Okay, I learned something new today. Yeah, there's just so many things in web development, like you sometimes don't know what you don't know. So I think that's one reason why it's important to try to keep building things, because there's always going to be something new coming up, and there's always going to be something new that you just didn't know about. So cool. Man. Yeah, I've never actually used this before, as sad as that might be to say. I'm wondering what the browser support is for that. Okay, so what I've done is I'm trying to see what browsers support this radial gradient property of background image has. So I'm typing it in on caniuse.com, which I use all the time. Looks like it's very supported, except for Safari. Partial support in Safari. So this might not work in Safari. So if that happens, then you would have to go use this thing. Yeah, there's like just weird bugs in different browsers. Yeah, CSS Tricks is a great resource. I use it all the time. Actually, let me show you one post on CSS Tricks that I always go back to. This complete guide to Flexbox. It's really helpful because it has just these visual representations of everything. And I'll probably have to refer back to this later on when we change the order of some of those elements. But yeah, this is like, I love CSS Tricks. They also recently redesigned their website, and the new design is like way better than the old one. Anyway, okay, we'll just keep Caniuse open because we might have to look stuff up on there later. But that actually looks kind of similar to what we want this to look like. Let's see how tall this thing is. So the square part is about 690, and then the triangle part is 164. So was it 690? So about 700. Let's just see how the gradient looks when we increase this thing. This is just the C. We're gonna set the height to 700. Oops. Oh, it's because I zoomed in quite a bit. Oops. I'm sorry. Okay. So now this is normal size. How does that look? I think actually the radial looks like the center is actually more on the bottom. So let's try to change that. Background image radial gradient circle at top right. So let's try changing that to bottom right. That looks pretty good. I feel like it is a bit different. Like it gets, like this part is like the darker part is almost half, and it just changes to light way too quickly. I wonder if you can change that. Like I wonder if how you can control when it sort of changes colors. Oops, where were we? Yeah, so I'm definitely not going to finish this whole website tonight. Not that I was planning on it, but like in real life, it would take me, I would say, a day to build this entire website. Maybe a little less than one day, but it's definitely, it's not something that's like super quick, unless maybe I'm just really slow, but I don't think I am. Also, I'm talking at the same time and looking stuff up, so the talking part, I guess, makes things a bit longer, but I guess this will turn into a series. Okay, so what were we looking at? We wanted to find out if I can make it change slower, I guess. Make it have more dark stuff. More of a dark blue. Okay. Let's see. Whoa, this is complicated. Radial gradient has gone through some syntax changes. There is, again, old, tweener, and new. Man, this is a bit complicated, huh? So I guess the new one is what the syntax that we were just using, this saying circle, yada yada. Farthest side at right. What do we have? Circle at top right. I'm just curious. Let's see if that changed anything. Oh, I forgot. I need to make header. That's one thing I don't like about things that will sort of auto reload the page, because sometimes when I'm typing in all these styles in the browser, if I change something and it reruns it, then it sort of removes those changes. But maybe that means I shouldn't be doing that. We're just going to add a height of 700 pixels for now, just to sort of see how that... Oh, I think that was actually better. I think, what was it originally? It was like... I'll just cut that. Circle at top right, was it? It was bottom right. And then we changed that to, oops. It did change something. Yeah, it looks like it's making the center a bit more to the right than the other one. Looks a little better, but I feel like it's still not exactly, if we're talking like this is what the end result should look like. It's still way too light, but we'll just keep this for now, just because it's a little bit closer to what we're looking for. Oh, I don't want to do... Okay, I guess that was already there. Okay, so let's go back to researching our radial gradients and trying to figure out if we can change the positioning. And if any of you know, feel free to chime in the chat. Yeah, I hope whatever takeaway you take from this stream is that no matter how experienced you are, there's always things that you don't know. So, okay. This is kind of annoying. I guess what we could do is sort of try to hack it. We could say, let's just see if this works. What I'm trying to do is try to make the width bigger so that the purple side might be more. This might not even work. Right now width is 1274. What's it? I think you can do HW? No, that's not anything. VW is vertical width. Is there a horizontal version of VH? VW and VH. Oh, view width and view height. View width. Okay, that doesn't do anything. Man, I'm honestly kind of stumped. Okay, let's look back. Let's do some more research on the radial gradient. So when I'm searching for stuff that I'm like trying to figure out, I always start with like what the sort of general area is. And this is a CSS thing, so I'm just putting CSS first, and then the CSS thing that I'm actually looking for, which in this case is the radial gradient. Change center. Ooh, radial gradient position. Oh, radial gradient.io. That looks promising. I'm just sort of trying to scan this quickly and see. Also, when was this published? It doesn't really say. I don't know if this might be too old. Oh no, this looks right. Yeah, so all the tutorial videos that you watch, what they don't put in is all the hours that the person making the tutorial video had to spend researching stuff like what I'm doing right now. So yeah, maybe it doesn't make for interesting video, but this is part of the job. Let's see. Okay, position. You can, okay, this is interesting. You are able to specify an exact position for your radial gradient using a numerical value. If you set the property to 350px times 200, it would take that size and the gradient along with it. Oh, this might be helpful. The length and percentage. You can set a numeric value that serves as the circle's radius. Okay, this is sounds like what we're looking for. You set this by determining the length with positive pixels or relative units. You can't use negative, that's fine. Wait, you can't do this with a circle. The size is always going to be relative to the gradient box rather than the gradient itself. What? Okay, let's do another search. So I'm interested in trying to determine the length of the gradient. So let's do a new search for that. Okay, MDN is also a good thing. Yeah, Mozilla Developer Network, they're not the most like exciting website, I guess. They're more of like a reference, but like it's like full of information because it's like literally a reference for like anything related to like CSS or I think also JavaScript. Yeah, it's like they have stuff on everything. So let's see what they have to say here. Yeah, a radial gradient has no intrinsic dimensions. It doesn't have a natural or preferred size. Its size will match the size of the element that it applies to, which is what's happening here. So I'm trying to see if there's anything that we can do to either move the center of the gradient or change the size of it. This is sort of like what we did, but it's just not at all. Okay, I hate to say this, but I might actually need to go back to Colorzilla. Because see, they have this nice slider here. That looks weird, but... Oops, that's not what I want to do. Oops. see. Okay, let's just, good old Colorzilla. Okay, I mean, this was great and all, but it didn't give us, you know, this is probably just due to my lack of knowledge about it, but, you know, didn't give us what we're trying to do. Maybe I'll have to research that for next time. Okay, that looks really weird. You know, I wonder if I need to actually create another middle color in a way. So I'm going to create a little midpoint here and make this a lighter color. That's still way too much. This is very frustrating. Oh, Ian Duke. Shappy.app. I am willing to try anything at this point. CSS gradient generator. Ooh, that looks nice. Okay, let's try this. Radial. What's a conic gradient? Oh, this is pretty cool. I love tools like these that you can like, it has like a nice user interface. Okay, we'll just give this a shot. What do we have here? Okay, so the center is the lighter color. We'll just copy it from what we had here. The center is the green color, and we will change that to this. And then I'll change that to the dark color, which is this. Actually looks kind of better. I'm not sure why. Okay, let's see if we can edit some of these things. Oh. What? The box your shape goes into. What am I changing here? I can't tell. Oh wait, box details. Shape in box. This is probably at 50 by default, I'm guessing. Ooh, oh my gosh, this is like exactly what we were looking for. Thank you. Subscribe to PewDiePie? All right, thanks. Was that guy trying to hit like 100 million or a billion? My husband watches his videos a lot, but I usually just listen to the screaming from the next room. Okay, thank you so much, Ian, for this thing. Let's just see. I feel like it's still a bit like, I wish the gradient was a little bit more, I don't know. It just seems to kind of quickly go to that blue color, the dark blue color, but let us just, oh, there's a CodePen. CodePen is another helpful way that you can try stuff. Okay, that didn't work at all. Is this not copying? Oh, here. All right, let's... We will just delete this because it didn't really work. We'll keep that because it sort of worked. Background image. Okay, moment of truth. What happened? I must have a syntax error. Background image, yes. Radial gradient. Yeah, I just don't know enough. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's just the no repeat stuff. I don't know if that matters. Okay. I guess this is, some part of this is like not good syntax. Oh, that's not right. Oh, that's just from here. Okay. Sorry, I think I'm getting tired. I'm like slow. Okay. Still doesn't look great, guys. Yeah. That does not look great. Okay, you know what? That's so annoying. Okay, you know what I might be able to do? Okay, we're gonna try something. We're gonna try something crazy. We're just not gonna use this helper class, so don't worry about it. I don't need this. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna try to do it in a pseudo element. I'll show you what I mean. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a pseudo element, which is sort of like it's like a ghost element, for lack of a better word, of the header element. And that's what I mean by the ampersand : after. That's the after pseudo element. And what I'm trying to do is make it into like kind of a background image. So what I want to do is I want the pseudo element to be absolutely positioned so I can control the positioning of it, but it needs to be the same height and width of the parent element, which is header. So that's why I'm going to do this. That's wrong. Width is 100% and then height 100% also, which means it'll just inherit the height and width from the parent. And then, why is this not working? Oh, I forgot. In pseudo elements, you have to have a content property, otherwise it's just not going to exist. So if it doesn't need to contain anything, you can just do what I did. Content is like empty quotes. Okay, so it looks like it's back. It is on top of everything else, but let's see. Z index is 0. Actually, I think these need to be okay. Basically what was happening was I created this element, which is part of the parent element, the pseudo element, and that's why it's on top of now the logo and the nav. So I need to add a Z index to the order and make this background be 0, meaning it's going to be on the bottom, and then anything above 0 it'll be on top, so you can sort of layer successive things. I don't know, this is maybe kind of hacky, but so we're just going to add a position relative and Z index of 1 to the other elements inside the header, and then the index of 0 to the background. Okay, cool. So now everything is like on top of the background. So I'm just going to change back to that original, this thing here that it seemed to be working. We'll just keep this in case we would need it later. We'll just put it all in one line. Having long CSS properties on multiple lines, it's really just for readability. Ooh, that looks a bit better, right? And then, let's see, what I'm going to try to do is what was I going to do? I want to try to move this over so it's more to the right. I could do a transform. Okay. I know it looks terrible, but what we're also going to do is add the dark blue, which is dark blue, as the background color for the header. Oops. Oh man, it got rid of it again. Yeah, I just don't like those auto reload things. Anyway, transform, translate X, we'll just start with 10%. What this is doing is it's going to actually move that element to the right, because the X is the horizontal axis. So you can see here, the pseudo element that I made is actually, it's been moved over. And just for the sake of clarity, I'm going to add my favorite. We'll just do white, so we can see what position it's in. So if we move it, yeah, look at that. Maybe this is hacky, but you know what? It's working. So if we get rid of the border, we can see it does look a bit more similar to this, which is great. I'm just kind of eyeballing it, so we'll try to move it a little bit more. I think it actually needs to move down a bit too. Translate. Let's try 10% down. Oh, that's bad. We don't want to do that. That was not a good idea. Yeah, I'm honestly just gonna have to do more research on the radial gradient stuff, but I think that's kind of good enough for me now. I just don't want to bore you guys overly much. So let us add this. Is everything there? Translate is 44%. So we'll just change this. Yeah, good enough for me. This is one of those things that I would make, and then I know that the designer is not going to like it, but oh well. Okay. This is taking way longer than I was thinking it would take. I was like, oh, I can probably finish like half of it in like one session. But no, we're like an hour and a half in, and I like just added the background color to the hero. Just for the sake of finishing something, I think what I would like to do before signing off is at least style these things. Sound good? Yeah. So let's get the approximate. So I'm assuming that this JPEG is at 100% the correct size that we want, that the designer wanted it to be. So this is also very approximate. This is also kind of what I do sometimes if I don't have a sketch file. And I think Front-End Mentor, you have to pay like $5 to get the actual sketch file. Plus I don't have a Mac, so I can't use Sketch, so it doesn't matter to me. Okay, so this is about 56 by 46 pixels. So let's just load that logo image up. Let's do display block. Width was 56 pixels and height was 46 pixels. And then we're going to set the background image to that SVG. And where did we put that? We put it in dist. Auto detected the. Oh, interesting. Where is? Oh, this is in the app. Okay, so what I do want to do is get here and then go to dist and then load the image here. And then background size, I usually just do cover. Cover means that, whoops. Cover means it'll cover the, it'll make the width and the height fill the div without skewing it or anything. Okay, no such file. What did I do? I think I need to add quotes here. That also didn't work. Oops. Wait, the white thing again? Oh, what did I do? there. Let's see. I wonder if I just sort of... Oh, okay, it did work. No? I feel like I don't need any of this to work. No. Sorry, this is something that I should figure out before streaming, but nope. I can't find this file. Oh wait, why is website in there twice? Okay. This is gonna throw the error again. Website, app, oh. I need to get out of the app. Oh, jeez. Okay, that worked. Ugh. I love when I get stuck on something for a while and it's just a dumb like syntax. Like I needed to have that front slash and that's why it was breaking. All right. Okay, it loaded. So because I actually put the h1 tag inside the here, let me just show you. I put the h1 tag inside the logo div, so they're together. But what I want to do is I need to position them correctly. Actually, let's get the font working. I didn't see any notes about the font sizes, so I will just try to eyeball. But yeah. Oh, Time Rider says I'm learning a lot. Learned some stuff from Ian. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for watching. Okay, so this is the h1 tag. So the font family was, oops, wait, maybe I don't need this. It was Railway, I believe it was. Oh man, I'm definitely gonna have to try to stream when I'm a little more with it. I think I'm getting kind of tired. Let's open that design file again, or the design folder, style guide. Railway. Okay, Railway. Select this font. What I'm doing is I'm just trying to make sure that I am loading the font the way that I need to in the CSS. Okay, so I did this part. I included the link tag. And then use the following CSS rules to specify these families. So I should just be able to do this. Actually, another thing that I like to do is create more variables, of course. This has a syntax error, but let's see, where should I put these things? I guess I shouldn't have deleted the font SCSS file. Oh, it's still there. Okay, good. We're just going to do this, and then secondary font. This way, let's say I didn't create these variables and I just had Railway and Open Sans. Like every single time in my SCSS, in my CSS, if we change the, like, let's say they change from Railway to like something else, like Montserrat or whatever, I would have to go in and do like a find and replace for every single instance of Railway and change it to the new font, and that would take a lot of time. So it's much quicker And it makes it easier when you're changing things to have these variables. So this way, I can use this primary font variable, and then it's just primary font, and it automatically loads as Railway. And then I believe the font weight was 700. Oops. I don't know if everyone has a different order that they like writing their CSS in, but I sort of try to, like for text stuff, I'll do font family, then font weight, and then, or font size actually, which I forgot to do. I don't think there was any notes about the font sizes. Yeah. I guess that's one reason why getting the actual design file would be more helpful, but we can just eyeball it. I'm just going to use pixels because, well, I think the best practice for font size is using rems. One rem is about 16, so let's try 2 rem. And even that's something that you could create variables for. So like if you have like a standard font size you want all your paragraph tags to be in, like all the regular text, you can create a variable being like, you know, font size normal, font size like body content or whatever, and then just use that. But we will just be approximate here. Okay. Hey, look at that. The font loaded. So what I want to do is I want the text to be next to the logo, obviously. Let's just zoom in a little bit more. So right click and inspect element, H1. So we can see the logo is the background image. Actually, I don't want the width of this. I don't want the width of the entire element to only be 56 pixels because you can see that this is happening. I mean, it doesn't matter a whole lot in this case, but I think I'm just going to, we'll just set the height and then we will let the width be whatever the text is. So right now, because the logo image is a background image, it's behind the text. And so what we want to do is we're going to add some padding left. Let's just say, what was it, 56. Whoops. Okay, what's going on here? This is very strange. Oh, I'm sorry. The whole logo is an SVG. So we don't need the extra markup that I added. My bad. Although honestly, I think that for accessibility purposes, you usually do want an H1 tag. So, okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna look up one more thing. It's probably gonna drive you guys crazy. So generally, like you want the H1 tag to be like the name of the website or whatever. So because the SVG has a text, we need to figure out what we want to do for that. Because accessibility wise, like a screen reader can't really read an SVG. So let's see. SVG for website title, accessibility. Okay, I guess this is not, I'm not interested in like doing a whole bunch of research on SVGs right now. So I think actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave we'll just take the whole thing out. Like, it's fine. Yeah, that's bad accessibility though. But I think just for the sake of completing this, we will just do this. So I think, there we go. Let's just see how tall, let's see what the actual size is. Actual meaning like a very approximate. So this is about 160 pixels wide. Oh, actually, there might be info in the actual SVG file itself. Yes, width is 120, height is 35. So we will add that to here. Sorry. Width is 120, height is, what was the height? 35. There we go. So again, I just prefer using background images, but another thing you can do is load the SVG as in an image tag. So, woohoo! Made the logo. Okay, so now I can also see that we need some padding added here. Let's just see overall, oops, what the padding is on the design. So what I mean by padding, overall padding, is like, you can see here, as you go all the way down, there's like a certain amount of space, which is about it's about like 60 or 70, almost 80 pixels wide. So we'll just add that padding in later. So it's about 80 pixels wide, and then again, this is, yes, very exact. How much is the top padding? It's about 50, let's just say 52. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add a top padding of 52 to the header element, and then we'll add the side padding with the helper class because that's being reused. So let's do the top padding first. Actually, I guess we could add the top padding and the side padding with the helper class, because we're probably assuming, like, if you have a content block, you're going to want some padding. So we'll just do that. Sorry if this is not making sense. So what I want to do is create a helper class called, let's get rid of that. That wasn't helpful at all. Wrapper. And we'll say padding top, or padding is, it was what, 52 pixels on the top, and we'll add it also on the bottom just for the sake of consistency. And then the side padding is going to be 80 pixels. So then any element that has this wrapper class will have this padding automatically. So again, it's like one way that you can make sure all your styles and everything are consistent throughout. So to the header, we'll add class equals wrapper. So then it should automatically have this padding now, which it does. Oh, but this is messed up now. Let's see. Oh, I think if we, okay. So what happened was I had added padding, so by default, the pseudo element would kind of just take that padding. I feel like there should be, oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't add, I guess it doesn't matter. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm like really scattered right now. But every element needs to have box sizing is equal to border box. But I guess that doesn't seem to affect the child element. Okay, well that's fine. Box sizing border box is just a global CSS style that you always want added to everything. So I think it is like asterisk, which means every element, and then all the like pseudo elements. So it's inheriting it from HTML. I just read online that you want to set the box sizing border box on the HTML and then inherit it for every element. This basically means that the width and height of an element will not be affected by the padding. So let's say if I had an element that was like 400 pixels tall, 400 pixels in height, and I added 20 pixels to it, it would add the padding to the height property. So then instead of 400, it would be, if I had padding of 20 pixels on top and bottom, it it would make the height 440 pixels. And you generally don't really want that. You want the padding to just be kind of included in the height. So that's why this is added. It's just kind of a general best practice. And I think CSS Tricks has like a little article on that too, because they have articles on everything. It's like awesome. Man, it's getting kind of late. Anyway, if you're interested in that, you can read this later. So we're getting there. So what I want to do is I want the header pseudo element to be up at the top. Otherwise you have this weird thing here. So we want it to set top as 0. So in the header pseudo element, we'll just say top of 0. We'll just delete this. Don't really need it. Okay, cool. So now we just need to add the links. So these looks like they are the same size. So let's see what CSS we would use for that. So then under nav, let's say a and also button elements would have a font. Let's say the font family is the font, what was it? Secondary font, I believe it was called. Yeah. And then font size, let's just say, I don't know what the actual pixel size needs to be, but I'll just put that in for now. And then color is white. Oh, and font weight is, I think, regular, so 400. Okay, that looks pretty good. We do not want that underline. The underline is just a default browser style, so under global, we want to get rid of that. Text decoration, none. That should get rid of the underline, which did. Great. Let's see what the actual, let's zoom out. So you can see that adding this as a button element made it like a button. Okay, so I think I'd put 1.5 rems. That's quite a bit too big. Let's try 1 rem. 1 rem equals about 16, it equals 16 pixels. Font weight seems lighter than that. Let's check the font weights from the style guide. Yeah, 400, 600, 700. I wonder why. Sometimes I have noticed, actually a lot of the times, that the font, like how the fonts look on the actual website, are slightly different than how the fonts look in, Sketch or Adobe. I'm not sure why that is. I mean, I think a lot of it is because when you load the font in a software program like Sketch, you need the actual font file. And sometimes there's just like some slight differences between the web font and then the design fonts. But anyway, let's see what we got here. Okay, so sign in and sign up. And then the sign up button is a green color. And it looks like it has a little box shadow. You can see on the bigger Get Started button, there's a little box shadow there on the left bottom side, so we'll add that later. Well, let's get that green color in for now. Green. So the comma means that these styles here that I added, the text styles, will apply to both anchor and the button. Which is what we have here. And then for the button, I only want the button to be green. I don't want the anchor thing to be green. So I think this should work. Okay, and you can see here, that there's this border, default border, which we don't want. So I believe to get rid of that, it's just border 0. Sweet. Remind me to put this in the CSS before I reload anything. Okay, we can also see that there's like a little, it's slightly rounded, which means it has a border radius. So let's just try 2 pixels. Maybe 1, let's try 2 pixels. Seems pretty good. And it does look like there's a good bit of padding. So like, let's see here. The horizontal padding is about 40, let's say 40 on the left and right, and then the top and bottom is roughly 10 or 12. So it's 12 on top and bottom and 40. And it's big just because I like zoomed in. It seems a bit too long because the total width is about 122 and this is at 137. So let's just get rid of some of that horizontal padding. So we can see, if you can see the highlighted part on the button, it sort of tells you the actual dimensions, which is like kind of nice. We'll just do 12 pixels by 32 pixels. I feel like the roundedness is okay. Actually, it seems a bit tall too. Let's see how tall it is. Oops. It's about 38. It's probably about 40. And this one is 46, so we'll take down some of that vertical padding as well. So 9 pixels instead of 12 pixels, and that looks closer. That looks pretty good. Okay, good enough for me. So let's copy the styles that we added here and put them in our CSS. Yeah, looks like a button. Okay, we'll add some spacing as well. Looks like there's about 30 pixels between them. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a margin right of 30 pixels. So then the spacing's like that. Another cool thing about Flexbox, which you may or may not have had to worry about, is that before, when we would use floats for laying out everything, it was very difficult to vertically center things. But with Flexbox, it does it automatically. So Flexbox is like awesome. It makes like laying out things just so much easier. Okay, where was I? Margin right on that first link. So we'll add a margin right property to the A element. I put the A in front of the button because in here it comes first. That's really all it is. Cool. Hey, you guys, we finished something. All it took was like 2 hours. Okay, I'll get rid of that border because I don't really need it anymore. Man, this took quite a bit longer than I thought. You know, maybe I think too much of my coding skills, but you know, this is cool. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop for now. We will continue this in my next streaming session. I'll try to figure out maybe a regular time. It's most likely going to be on the weekends. But yeah, the next step to finish this would actually be, we want to add some hover states. So when you hover over the green button, you want to turn to the hand. Probably here for this, the logo should link to the home page, even though this is just a one-page website, just because in case you have multiple pages, you always want the logo to link back to the home. And then what we might do is finish kind of styling this button. We'll add a hover state, so it'll maybe change some colors a bit when you hover over it. And then we also want to add that box shadow because we didn't do that this time. I guess we can do that right now really quick. Why not? So box shadows are fairly easy. So wait, it's I'll explain all this in 1 second. Let me just type this all out. Okay. So box shadows take a bunch of different parameters. The pixel parameters are like, they control sort of the spread of the shadow and also the horizontal and vertical positioning. Oh man, I hope this works. I'm gonna feel pretty silly if this is wrong. Let's just try. And then the second part, the RGBA stuff, that's the color of the shadow. So I've made it white, and then the last one is the opacity. I'm gonna set it to 1. And then if I tweak this stuff, it should, there we go. Look at that. So it's, the first parameter is like the horizontal positioning, and then the second one's the vertical positioning. Third one is the spread. So the higher it is, the more it sort of does that. And again, we're just kind of, we're just sort of guesstimating all this stuff here. I guess when you buy the sketch file, you'll actually see the CSS properties. Let's make this like slightly translucent. That's pretty close, right? We'll just look here. It's very slight. I don't even know if that top button has it, but we'll just do it anyway. Another thing I would do, since there's more than one green button, is that, yeah, there's like, all the buttons are green. I would create a helper class again for this, because sometimes websites will have different colored buttons, and then it's easier to just swap them out using a CSS class. But you know what, I'm pretty happy with this. I'll just make it more slight. Okay, so we'll just copy this, the box shadow, and add it to the button property. Cool. Okay, that looks kind of weird, but you know what? This is good enough for now. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining in. Feel free to, ask any questions while I'm streaming and stuff. And, I'm planning on doing this on a regular basis and just keep sort of hacking away at this website. So cool. We will see you next time.